Good evening, my fellow citizens. This afternoon, following a series of threats and defiant statements, the presence of Alabama National Guardsmen was required on the University of Alabama to carry out our final and unequivocal order of the United States District of Court of the Northern District of Alabama. That order called for the admission of two clearly qualified young Alabama residents who happened to be born Negro. That they were admitted peacefully on the campus is due in good measure to the conduct of the students of the University of Alabama, who have met their responsibilities in a constructive way. I hope that every American, regardless of where he lives, will stop and examine his conscience about this and other related incidents. This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. Today, we are committed to a worldwide struggle to promote and protect the rights of all who wish to be free. And when Americans are sent to Vietnam or West Berlin, we do not ask for whites only. It ought to be possible, therefore, for every American student of any color to attend any public institution, select without having to be backed up by troops. It ought to be possible for every American consumer of any color to receive equal service in any place of public accommodation, such as hotels, restaurants, theaters, and retail stores, without being forced to resort to demonstration in the streets. And it ought to be possible for American citizens of any color to register and to vote in a free election without interference or fear of reprisal. It ought to be possible, in short, that every American have to enjoy these privileges as Americans, without any regard to his race or color. In short, every American ought to have the right to be treated as one would wish to be treated, as one would wish his children to be treated. But this is not the case. The Negro baby born in America today, regardless of the section of the state in which he is born, has about one-half as much chance of completing high school as a white baby born in the same place on the same day in the same time. One-third as much of a chance as completing college, one-third as much of a chance as becoming a professional man, and twice as much of the chance of becoming unemployed. About one-seventh as much of a chance of earning $10,000 a year. A life expectancy which is 7 years shorter, and the prospects of only earning half as much. This is not a sectional issue. Difficulties over segregation and discrimination exist in every city, in every state of the Union, producing in many cities a rising tide of discontent that threatens the public safety. Nor is this a partisan issue. In a time of domestic crisis, men of goodwill and generosity should be able to unite regardless of party or politics. This is not even a legal or legislative issue. It is better to settle these matters in courts than on the streets. And new laws are needed at every level, but law alone cannot make men see right. We are confronted primarily with a moral issue. It is as old as scriptures, and it is as clear as the American Constitution. The heart of the question is whether all Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunities. Whether we are going to be treated, if an American, because of his skin is dark, then he cannot eat lunch in a restaurant to be open in the public, if he cannot send his children to the best public school available, if he cannot vote for public officials who will represent him, if he cannot enjoy the full and free life which all of us want, then who among us would be content to have his skin color changed and stand in his place? Who among us would then be content with the counsels of patience and delay? 100 years of delay have passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves, yet their heirs, their grandsons, are not fully free. They are not yet freed from the bonds of injustice. They are not yet freed from social and economic oppression, and this nation, for all hopes and its boast, will not be fully free until all of its citizens are free.